Well, it's that time on the show each week where I introduce the members of the Career Success Panel, and we've got some new members this week. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Tom Elliott. Tom's the Managing Director of MM&E Capital. It's a funds manager. He's in charge of tens of millions of dollars a year. Tom, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Bill, very nice to be here, and well done on pronouncing the name of my firm. So many people stuff it up, I should say.
My pleasure, Tom. Now, we've also got Libby Fordham back with us. Libby is the CEO of Libby Fordham Corporate Communications. As you would have seen from last week's show, she's our resident spin doctor. Lib, thanks for coming back on the show this week.
Thanks, Bill.
I've also got Melanie Carlson. Now, Melanie Carlson's pretty famous because she works in the recruiting industry, and we were talking a bit earlier on. She interviewed 50 people for jobs last week. She's an account manager with Candle Recruitment. Mel, thanks for joining the panel.
Thanks for inviting me on, Bill.
And last but not least, we've got Phil Noble. Phil Noble's a management consultant with the firm of Business Development Partners, and he's an expert in turning around companies that aren't working well. So we think a lot of that stuff applies to people who are trying to turn their careers around, Phil, so thanks for joining the panel.
Great to be here, Bill.
Well, this week the theme of the show is looking at what it takes to be a great team player. So guys, I'm just interested, what's a great team you've worked on, Tom?
Well, currently I work in a team of one, so that's not a very good team. But several years ago I worked at Country Road in the homeware division, and it was an exciting time because it was a new sort of product in Australia in a company that admittedly wasn't doing well, but mainly it was a good team because we had a lot of fun together.
Okay, we might talk about that a little bit later on. What about you, Mel? Best team you've been on?
I think the team I work in now is pretty good, but I actually had a career before.
You're sucking up to your boss while you're on the TV show.
I have to say that. But before I was a famous account manager, as you put it, I actually worked in hospitality, and it was a really social atmosphere, and same sort of thing, customer service, but it was a lot of fun, and you used to go out a lot with the people, so that was always great.
Okay, well look, what we always do at this part of the show is to actually go out onto the street and see what people think makes a great team player. So let's go out and see what Australians had to say.
I'd say the one I'm in now, I'm an English teacher.
The one where I'm currently working at the moment, but I think it's because we have a very, very good team leader.
Funnily enough, a telemarketing place.
Everyone's motivated, everyone's happy to be where they are, and that's contagious.
The most fun I had was when I was much younger and I worked in mechanics, and they were just a really fun bunch of blokes. That was a lot of fun.
Although it was competitive in terms of the way the structure was, we were all trying to help the people that we liked to get across the line together so we'd all stay together.
Communication, trust, respect, and probably above all tolerance of other people's working methods and their personalities and their home situations, and just tolerance of them as a whole and acceptance of them and working with them, not against them.
If you have a very good team leader, she's able, or he is able, to pull the team together and have them working together. And I think it's very important for the team leader also to know what is going on.
A whole bunch of people that get along, a boss that you're not really intimidated by, a boss who's approachable and is counted as one of the people.
A good leader, a good boss.
Well, Libby, what do you think about what the folks are saying there around what makes a great team?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, but I also think that the best thing about a team is that you like everybody. You're not working with a whole pack of losers and you're all fighting, So I think that's what makes the best team that I've ever been on was a whole group of people that were really fantastic and got on with one another and had a good time with what they were doing.
What about that bloke that said, you want to help your friends that are on the team sort of move forward? What if you just didn't like someone on the team? Phil, any experience with that?
I have had many experiences with that over time, Bill, and it's often a tricky situation. I mean, it's funny how these things sometimes work themselves out over time. Once you actually get to know a person a little better and you maybe go out with them for a beer on a Friday night, it's amazing how that can sometimes turn things around.
Sometimes you don't want to force them out of the team anymore because you've got to know them a little bit better.
So they become your new best friend?
No, well, if they're losers, you try and push them off the team.
Well, do you think everybody has to like everybody? I like a bit of conflict within teams because I think if everybody agrees and likes each other, it doesn't mean they have to agree, but I think a bit of conflict is sometimes quite a productive thing. It helps you justify what you believe in a bit more.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And the other thing I noticed coming out in those interviews was people were all talking about having fun. Like nearly every single one of them wants to have a good time at work. That's kind of seems to be the bottom line about it, having a team that's cohesive.
But that's why men play football every Saturday and train all these nights through the week, is because they're having fun. That's really the reason why they do it. Because
some people consider that a job.
stand around and sing and go and bond and do all that stuff.
What about you guys at Candle, Mel? Do you play bingo together or something? Or?
No.
Exciting place to work.
Not bingo. In Melbourne, we tend to do social activities as well, and we have a thing called Bar Candle every Friday night. Everyone gathers around and has drinks, and there's teams within our team. So you know, I don't work with everybody in my office, but the same goes, I mean, I probably don't get along with everybody that I'm always going to work with, but I think if you have a healthy respect for what they bring to the environment, whether you like them or not.
I'll try not to be.
It's
Well,
not the
back to you,
issue.
Tom. Before we had a look at the people on the street there, you're in a team of one. You said that's the best team that you've got. That you've been on. How do you handle giving yourself your performance appraisal?
It's interesting. People talk about 360-degree performance appraisals. That's certainly what I
Spinning
get.
around in the mirror in the morning, Tom.
I sit
Yeah,
on
I'm
both
okay.
sides of the desk.
Do you have a mission statement that you take your team through?
I have it inscribed up on the wall just in case I forget
What
what I'm
is
on
it?
about.
What is it, Tom?
Make money today. But I think the other thing that came out very strongly out of it is people seem to want and respect good leadership, and that's very important. You know, a team can't live without a leader or a captain or someone who's sort of showing them the way to go.
My leader's very good.
Well, on that later in the show, we'll be having a look at this question of leadership because our career dilemma is actually around what a boss should do when the team's not working that well.